Edison Abelard from Passion 47. And where we left off last time was actually creating this really cool, slide in animation. So our aliens fly. So what we're going to do in this video now is work on when they click, what happens. And what I want initially to happen is all these aliens, they slide in, and then after, when you click on one, it will just bob up and down. So the way we do that, we're going to use jQuery. Now there's actually two kind of different methods to do this, and it really comes down to preference. Now if you ever use jQuery, one of the best ways to get multiple elements is to use a class. We can add a class in here, let's say Bob. We add a class Bob, and then we can just query through all of our elements and just get Bob. So let's do that. Now we're just going to look for a class called Bob. We're going to do click, and we're going to return a function, and we're just going to use console.log, and we're just going to log Bob was clicked. Alright, so I'm just going to hit save, and we're going to jump back in here. You'll see that actually auto loads. So now I click on this, boom, Bob was clicked. Now the only problem with using classes is designers like changing things. And if this class is associated with, let's say, something like Sprite or Image Alien, where they just decided to up and change the class, your application will break and you won't know why. So another method is to use a data, which I already have a data Bob. And when we can just add this data Bob to our element and replace it. So instead of running for classes, we can just look for an element. And the way we do that in jQuery is you do these brackets, and we can just literally drop the element in there. Save it, come back in here. Bob was clicked. So what this does is it gives us the opportunity to, instead of using classes where, like they really do have, for some reason, designers, especially designers and front-end developers, have this thing where they love to name their own things. So by using this data Bob, it's actually something that they wouldn't be changing anyway. So as long as that's added to it, we can actually use it. So let's just add this to our other, our other classes, our other elements. Now you can choose whichever one you want to use. Personally, I prefer to use a data attribute just because it has, just a less likelihood of messing up. So what we're going to do is literally do what we did here, except for in this time, instead of using from, we're going to use to. So all we're going to do is I'll create a variable and call it, we'll just call it A for now, keep it short. And this is going to be this. And all that does is refer to the current item clicked. So if there's multiple items, we know that this is the one that is currently being, is currently throwing in an event. So we're going to now do tween max dot to, close that. So now we know the first thing we need to do is pass it a DOM object. That's going to be A. The time, let's say 1.3 seconds. And now these are the properties. Now we know we're going to do a CSS property. So let's start off with that. I want to do top again. And this time we're going to plus, let's say 10 pixels. Save it. Now go back into here. Oh, keep forgetting that auto loads for us. Now I'm going to click on it, and boom, it slides up. So that's it. That's the end of the video. No, I'm just joking. All right, so let's add a little more to this. We definitely don't want to just leave it at that, because there's a number of issues that will show up. One, you can keep clicking on this. Technically, we don't want you to keep clicking on this. Two, it doesn't really have a lot of life to it. It just fades in or slides in. Excuse me, it slides in, and then you click on it and it slides up. So there really isn't any life to it. So what we're going to do is add another property, and that's going to be easing. Well, actually, before we do easing, let's do repeat. Let's make this repeat 5 times. Okay. So now this is going to load up again. Click. 2. Oh, that's a little awkward. So what's happening with repeat is you would think it's actually doing exactly what we told it to do. It's repeating the animation. And it starts from the beginning and it repeats it 5 times. So whatever the original value was, it adds 10 again. It goes back to original value. So what we really are looking for is kind of a bob feeling, right? So we want it to go up and down. And that up and down is similar to what we would see in the sine curve. And the way we can do that, hint, hint, is let's set this to true. So there's actually a yo-yo parameter. When we set that value to true, if repeat is on, it will do this. Go up and then come back down. Go up and come back down. Now you see that little trampoline effect going on over here. I don't really like that. But yeah, you see it? Come back down. It's really off. Now, if you want that to be your animation, you want a little ball bouncing, you can do that. But what we really want is the sine curve. And the way we're going to get our animation to mimic the sine curve is to come back and use our ease. Now, I already know it's going to be sine, and we'll use ease in and out. Come back here. Reload. Just wait for it. Actually, any one of these guys will do it. So as you can see, now we're getting that really nice motion where it's nice and smooth, and we get the easing in and out. There you go. Really good. All right, so that's exactly what we were looking for. You can take these values and you can keep playing around with them, see what you like. Make this smaller, make it a little faster. Just load back up. Now these aliens are definitely jumping up way too high. So let's change this plus or equal. See what effect we get. Okay. Now you see, since it's not bobbing as much, because what it was doing before was going way too high. So let's try to up this to 15. Let it reload. Click. Yeah, it's not working very well for us. So we're just gonna keep playing around with the values until we find something that we really like. Let's say all right. So now that we have it animating, let me let this run through again. There's something that I want to show you real quick, and it is. Now you see this guy, he goes up and down pretty much in that area, and just as expected. But this guy actually goes way up in, and why is that? Well, the reason for that is because if we go back to the code, I'm actually setting this to positive 10. Now, you remember over here we set it to negative 10. We set it to negative 300. So what's happening is we were literally moving minus 300. But what we have here with positive 10 is we're actually going to 10 pixels. And because our objects are objects, because all of our DOM elements are absolutely positioned, this is actually forcing it up to 10 pixels. So, which would be somewhere up here, which is why it goes so high up. And you'll see that with every single one of them. They all go up that high. So what we're going to do instead of using plus 10, we're going to do plus or equal to, we'll say 50. Now, what that does is it now takes the current top and then adds 50 to it. So now it'll be relative instead of, it'll be relative instead of absolute. So now when we click it, as you can see, it's not as high of a bob, but now it's exactly what we expect. They all will do that same bob in that area. Now we can do minus because plus is going down. So we can do minus 50. Let this reload. There you go. Now he's bobbing up. This goes across for each one of them. If I just quickly, let's just console log real quick. The problem with having a click event that's not controlled is that we'll actually continually call this tween over and over again. Now, in some cases, you can have it, continually call the tween over and over. But for us, it's actually not going to be beneficial. As you can see, it keeps going up, up. And that's what happened with any one of them. You can just keep clicking, 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 and you'll keep getting this. Now, it's even worse if you have it set to an infinity repeat, because at least these will stop. Now, the way we fix this is there are a few ways. One, you can set it up so that you can get rid of this on click, or you can have a boolean to see if this one is set a value, maybe add something to this p tag, or tween max has a great loop in which can check for us to see if we're actually looping already or looping through a tween. And I say looping through a tween because the tweens are happening on a time-based interval. So there's actually a loop in that tween max library that keeps running to keep track of everything. So what we'll do is we'll call tween max dot is tweening. Now all we have to do is pass it the object A in our case. And what we're going to do is, once again, we're just going to quickly log it. We don't want to do too much work and it not work correctly. So we're just going to log it real quick. The tween without a knee. Now that's an object, so it's probably just gonna hit us up with just a regular object, but that's fine. Instead, what I can do is if you want to gain access to the DOM itself, you can append it with a string. So I'm just going to duplicate that and then just drop an A. And what this will do is just give us an access to the actual DOM element. And the tween is off. Okay, so basically what we're going to do is when you click, we're going to check to see if you're tweening or if you're not tweening. So it's just a simple else if statement. All right, so this comes through. We click. Is tweening off? Tween started. Tweening is on. Tween started. Now you notice something. It's a little off. Why did we start off when we know we just clicked it? Now what happens is the tween is after. So because of that, it technically is off. So what we can do is now that we know for sure that this works, tween is off, tween is on. And of course we have the DOM also. So if you want to do some quick checking, tween is on. So what we don't want is when the tween is on for this to happen. So what we're going to do is just make this a falsy statement, and if it's not tweening, then we tween. Otherwise, okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to kill all the tweens. So we know for sure that it's currently not tweening. So let's kill the tween then. Tween max 2. Oops, we're going for kill. Now this is the one thing that, okay, it's not the only thing, but this is one of the great things about the IDE. Having a very powerful IDE does help you out tremendously in that you don't have to memorize every single one of these method calls, especially since they're very, very distinctive. So what we're going to do is call kill all. Why not, right? We're only tweening one thing, right? So let's just kill all the tweens. So let me jump back in here. All these animate, perfect, right? Click it, stops, goes, stops, goes, perfect, right? How about this? You notice that they both stop now. Now, it doesn't matter which one you click on. So long as there's tweens happening, if you click on one, they all stop. So we're going to stop there for this video. And in the next video, we're going to begin the video.js section. And we'll revisit how to stop tweens without affecting every single one of them. So this is Edison Abelard. I really hope you enjoy this series. You know, whether you're developing games or apps, it's really about creating an experience for the user, not just a plain website. So I hope you really enjoy this, and check out our website, passion47.com. We'll definitely have all the source code for all of this, so you can go ahead and play around with the code and see what you do, what you don't like. We're toying with probably just giving you a whole project as is. So you might also be able to just toy with our actual images and everything in place. So definitely look out for that, and look out for some of our other tutorials. I'm your host, Edison Abelard. Out.